Hey guys, for your writing assignment today, it's going to be quite a bit of writing time and then just answering a couple questions about it. So, the first thing that you're going to do, listen to this whole video before you pause and stop and do it. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get out a journal, a Google Docs, or do it right in the Seesaw activity, whatever you'd like to do. But I need you to do about 20 minutes of writing. And I'd like you to try to write some poetry. We're not just writing ideas anymore. You should have quite a few ideas in the back of your journal. So pick one or two of those and do some journal writing about it. And I want you to try and write poems. And I have a couple questions that you're going to answer after you write. So I'm going to read them to you now so that you can be thinking about them and trying to incorporate some of these things into your writing. So here's what your assignment actually looks like today. I'm going to read through it, and these are the questions I want you answering, the things I want you to try to include, okay? So number 1 says, do your 20 minutes of writing, then answer the following questions about it. You don't have to answer that question unless you want to do your writing here in Seesaw. You can write it right there. So number 2, what is an interesting sensory detail you have written? Copy it here. What that means is in your poetry somewhere, you should try to include some sensory detail and then give me an example of the sensory details you've written. Number 3, what sounds have you intentionally included in a poem? Now that doesn't mean you have to write out the word bark like a dog if you're writing about a dog, but there are certain sounds, maybe the sound a word makes or the way it should be read, things like that, that you intentionally include. Think of our poem Windshield Wiper. Those are sounds. The way that the poem is read and the way that it sounds was done intentionally. So think about a sound. It also can be a sound like bark that a dog makes, or boom, wham, crash, whatever. But sounds that you have intentionally included. List a couple of them there. Number 4, what decisions have you made about what a poem looks like on a page? We've talked about form and how it's written. I've seen a couple examples already from the writing you guys did last week, of people changing up the form and the way that it's written to kind of create a different experience for the poem. So your poem doesn't necessarily just have to be written line by line by line by line, but if you make the decision to write your poem like that, why did you make the decision? Could you have written it in a different way to make it more interesting? So what decisions have you made about the way that it looks on the page? That I want you to write a sentence or two explaining, my poem is written in 4 stanzas and I did that because blank. My poem is written in the shape of a flamingo and I did that because blank. If you see what I mean. Number 5, where is a place you used repetition? Again, if you think back to our poem Windshield Wiper, the repetition is saying words over and over again. So, for example, in Windshield Wiper, they wrote, here, let me pull it up, I'm sorry. She wrote fog, smog, tissue paper, clear the blear, clear the smear. So those are a couple examples of repetition of words and phrases being repeated for emphasis or another dramatic effect. So where did you repeat words and why did you decide to repeat those words? So these 4 things, sensory detail, sounds, form, and repetition, are all things that you should try to include in your writing that you do today. They don't all have to be included in the same piece, but you might write 4 different pieces and focus on one of those things in each piece. You might include 2 or 3 of them. It's up to you. But make sure you do your writing first, thinking about those things and including them. Then number 6 says, make sure you share your writing with me. Last week, quite a few of my friends completed the writing assignments, but I didn't get a whole lot of writing time sent to me. If you're doing it in Google Docs, that's fine. If you're doing it in your journal, that's fine. If you're doing it straight on the Seesaw, that's fine as well. Whatever works best for you, just make sure that you're actually sharing it with me. Because to me, it looks like quite a few of my friends aren't doing their writing time, which is going to make the upcoming writing assignments a little bit more difficult. So please make sure that you are doing your writing time. If you want to take all the writing time for the week and combine it into one big long hour and a half, whatever, that's fine. But for this particular assignment, your writing time has to be done first before you can answer these questions. So that is your whole writing assignment today. Make sure that you do your writing, then go answer these questions in Seesaw. If you have any problems, any issues, please let me know. But before you do that, please also rewatch this video. I've had quite a few friends sending me questions and things over email that if they just rewatched the video, they would have the answer to, or friends who are saying that they don't know how to answer a question even though I explain it in the video. So please make sure you're watching the whole video, and if you have a question, rewatch the video before you send me an email. It would really help me out because I'm spending a lot of my time answering questions that I've already answered in my email or in my videos by answering them over email. So if you could please do that, that would help me out a lot, and it would probably help you out a lot as well. Then you're not waiting on me to respond to an email. So